Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I'm Austen, I'm a digital content creator, and today we're going to be doing a mid-year reset of my influencer business. As a self-employed content creator, I am the one who is responsible for how much money I make and whether or not I'm hitting my goals. So I do find that halfway through the year is a good time to check in and see if I'm on track, see if I need to make any adjustments, and also celebrate what I've done so far. So I'm going to take you through my entire process of how I reset my business and how I kind of perform a mid-year audit to see where I'm at. I've got my smoothie ready, so let's take a look inside my Notion and get started. Okay, welcome to my Notion. I have sung Notion's praises many times on this channel, but it really is the hub of my influencer business and the place where I can keep track of my goals, make sure I'm staying on track, and never forget things on my to-do list. So I have a bunch of different tabs of my Notion, of course, over here. Today we are in my goals and planning hub. And I also have some exciting news, which is that if you like this hub that we're going to be working in today, I actually have created a whole template of this hub that you can buy for yourself. So this is a template that you're able to duplicate and use in your own Notion. I will leave a link to it down below. I won't walk through it too much right now because we are going to go through a good chunk of it in this video, but I'm so excited about this. And you may just notice a few design differences between the two since I've customized mine, but it's the template that I use in my business. So as we scroll down here, you'll see I have a couple of pages pinned, and you will get these in the planning hub too, the year at a glance and the goal setting brain dump, the mid-year reset, and all of that good stuff. But we are going to go into the mid-year reset. But before we open up that tab, I just want to scroll through my planning hub and take a look at a couple of things. So first things first is my 2024 vision board. If you watched my 2024 goal setting video and vision board making, I will link that one down below in case you'd like to go back and check it out. I talk about incorporating some of your images of yourself in your vision board. That is a tip that I've seen from some other people because in some ways you already are living your dream life, but I'm definitely seeing things on here that have come to fruition. For example, we have already traveled to New Zealand for our honeymoon, which was incredible. I had this image here of a podcast studio, and I have launched my podcast already this year. So there's a lot more still to come, like stepping into the most successful decade of my life ahead of my 30th birthday. But yeah, it's great to see some of these things actually coming to fruition. So if you did make a vision board at the beginning of the year, this could be a great time to check in on those images. And then we're going to scroll down here to my 2024 goals, and we can walk through each of these goals together quickly and just put a little update here of whether or not things are done or in progress, and if anything needs to be moved around or have the priority kind of changed from when I first laid these out back in January. And again, if you like this system for checking in on your goals, this is within the Notion template that I will link below. Okay, so first things first, I had already checked this off, but I did relaunch my digital course, which is the Influencer Income Accelerator, in January. So that is all done. The students completed the course in April. I also had this note here: elevate YouTube content with more visual interest and new equipment. I have definitely been doing that. I would say that that's pretty much done. I had a style meeting, like a call a few months back with Sean, who's my video editor, talking about some stylistic changes that I wanted to make. And I also got a new microphone, and I just kind of upgraded a little bit, and even trying to film in different areas of my apartment to make my sit-down videos feel a little bit more lifestyle-y, a little bit like I'm not just a face in the void sitting in front of a bookcase. I've also been changing up the thumbnails. All good things. Now here I have sell wedding items on Facebook Marketplace. I'm just going to move that one to Q3 because that is not started yet. And I need to just sit down and take a day to list everything. There is a local New Jersey, New York City group that I know I can list everything on. So I just need to prioritize that and also see if there's anything that's not worth selling that I should just give away. I have here to simplify my business with a revenue stream audit. I will call that in progress. If you guys caught my recent video about closing down my Patreon, that is kind of what this goal was implying. So I have closed down my Patreon. Next up is an email newsletter revamp. I'm going to call this one in progress too. I've already switched from MailChimp to ConvertKit, which I am very happy with that decision so far. But I do have some freebies that actually it's one of my June goals to set up those automations and make sure that I have more people coming to my list because I have better lead magnets, and working out a way to have more email automation that is going to kind of help soft sell some of my digital products so that I don't have to post about them as much and I can just let that all run on autopilot. So hopefully that will be done by the end of this month too. I wasn't even sure if I would get to this one in Q2, but this is actually done, which is awesome. The podcast has been launched. I now have my recording software, which is Riverside, that I use to record all my video episodes. I have Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, all of the social accounts set up for the podcast. And I came up with, the name, the branding, all that stuff. So I'm thrilled that that's all done and out there. And if you haven't gotten a chance to listen to the podcast yet, please do. It'll be linked down below, and let me know what you think. Opening my new business bank account. This more just has to do with like the back end stuff of the fact that I'm married now. So that is going to be a third quarter thing that I haven't started yet. Same thing with selling items on Facebook Marketplace. I am actually in progress with this goal because, as I just said, you can buy the Notion template, which is what I was creating and hoping to add to my digital product library this year. I recently updated Right on Pitch, which is exciting, and I do have these two other digital products that I'd like to create. So I'm calling that one in progress because we have already made progress on it, but there's still more to come. My next goal is hire website designer and SEO expert, move blog to WordPress. This is kind of a multi-part goal, obviously. I can explain this further maybe in another video, but I am strongly considering moving my blog from Squarespace to WordPress. It is just crazy how much more control you have over self-hosted WordPress, and there are just some limitations with Squarespace on the blogging front that I'm currently struggling with. In an ideal world, I would love to move my blog to WordPress. That is obviously kind of a big task. It's going to be a big expense, and I would also like to kind of redesign the blog slightly in the process of doing that as well. However, I have hired an SEO expert. I didn't even know what I meant by that. But I have found a company called Influencer SEO, and they have been helping me basically optimize my blog posts for search, kind of going back in through, of course, updating any new posts I publish, but also going back in through some of the older posts that I've published and helping me fill out the metadata, make sure the formatting is right, like just doing all of the little things that Google really wants to see so that when they skim a website, they can quickly gather what the post is about and know to recommend it to the right people. This is stuff that I have taken the time to learn how to do myself, but I just really don't have the time to do, and I don't personally need to be the one overseeing that process. So I have hired them. In general, my rule for outsourcing has always been if I am making some money and I can reinvest that money, then that's a place where I want to be able to do that. And so since I've been earning ad revenue from my blog through She Media, this felt like a great way to reinvest some of what I earn from that ad revenue to continue to grow the blog. And they actually do offer blog design services, so I might talk to them at some point to see what the situation will be if I do want to move to WordPress and how we can kind of approach that, especially focusing on keeping the SEO intact. I feel like that would be the right person to ask about that. Okay, moving along down here. I don't think I've ever spoken about this one publicly. So one of the things I would like to do this year is to create an Etsy shop with wedding templates and resources. So similar to how I create my digital products for content creators, I got married last year and I had to create a whole new organizational system for myself to keep track of all things wedding. I don't really feel like that falls under my Austen Tosone brand since I'm not, always talking about bridal things. Like I'm married, that kind of has happened already, but I do think that the resources I've created would do really well on Etsy. So I would like to launch an Etsy shop with all different wedding planning templates and resources. So I have a lot of those created already. I just really need to validate those digital products, make sure that they are what people are looking for, make sure that I package them to be sold on Etsy, which is different than selling products on my own website, which is what I've done in the past. I have actually secured my Etsy shop name, and like I said, I do have the products created. I just need to make sure that they're formatted for Etsy, and I need to learn a lot more about how to sell products on Etsy, which I will be binging my friend Alissa's YouTube channel for that. If you don't follow Alissa already, she talks all about digital products, especially about how to sell them on Etsy. So I will link her channel below if you'd like to check it out. We were roommates when we lived together in Brooklyn, and it's been really fun to see her success with her online business too. I do think that's still realistic to attempt in Q3, given that that's usually a slower time of year for me with brand deals. Hire a virtual assistant. Have not started this and wasn't really sure what I would even want or need a virtual assistant for, although I think it's becoming increasingly clear that if I can hand off some of the podcast editing and promotional stuff on social media, that would be a great thing to outsource, but I just don't even know where to begin with that really, so I have not started that at this point. I have just replaced my actual revenue goal with a placeholder here because I don't typically share my finances publicly, but I know what my revenue goal is. I'm obviously in progress to achieving it. Another goal I had was to read 20 books. Let's see where I'm at on my Goodreads challenge. I'll put a screenshot of this on the screen. I have read 9 out of 20 books for the year, which currently means that I am on track, so that is exciting. I also have here maintain my weekly workout schedule of 3 workouts a week. I've been pretty consistent with that, even despite traveling and just not always being able to work out at the exact time or do the exact type of workout that I would like to do, but I've been able to be pretty consistent with this, which I'm really proud of, and would also like to increase things a little bit later in the year, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. And then, of course, down here, I have a networking goal, which is to have a coffee or content date with a fellow creator, industry friend every single month. So if I open up that page, I stopped updating in May. I didn't really have a one-on-one catch up with people in May, but there were so many events that month. So I'm just going to put book club here because that is a group of 4 or 5 other content creators who I get together with. So inevitably something about work will come up at that point. And then I did just shoot with Audrey in the West Village this past week. So I'm counting that there and saying that I'm in progress. Grow my audience to over 150,000 followers across platforms. I do think that there is still time to reach that goal at the end of the year. So that's something else I'll continue to focus on. I am actually going to change this one to done just because I took a quick look and there aren't really any other revenue streams in my business that I'm currently looking to get rid of. If anything, I'm just looking to kind of double down on what's working best and expand upon those. But there's still a lot more that I want to get done this year, of course, but I think I am on target to hit a good amount of these goals, which would be great. Okay, now let's come up here and click on the mid-year reset. So again, this is inside the Notion template that I am now selling if you're interested in going through this yourself, but my design just looks a little different. I just have these clouds up here. I'm going to take a few minutes just to fill this out and think about kind of the biggest things that I did in the first half of the year, my takeaways, and then what I am prioritizing as I get into the rest of the year. Okay, so I just took a little bit of time to fill out my mid-year reset document. So I put down a few of the things that I am most proud of from the start of the year, what I did in Q1 and what I did in Q2, which is great. I was publishing almost weekly blog posts. I improved the YouTube videos. I relaunched the digital course. And then I launched my podcast. I got to speak at Meta and Google, which was really exciting. And I also migrated my email list and created new freebies. The 3 platforms of mine that grew the most in the first half of, this should say 2024, whoops, Instagram, thanks to some viral reels, which I actually did a whole other video about my YouTube channel, which thank you for that. Subscribe if you haven't already. Love to see you guys here. And actually also my blog page views, which has been incredibly exciting. I really feel like I am currently excelling in my long form content game between YouTube, the blog, and now the podcast. This is really where I feel the most creative and like I'm producing the best work. I think what's lying under the I want more portion that I wrote here is that I do need some support and help in the future. I just need to figure out exactly what that means for me so I can make sure that I'm hiring someone who is really taking the right things off of my plate to give me back that time to invest in what I think is most important right now, which to me is my long form content. My top 3 takeaways to start the year. I feel like every year there's always something that's going on that throws me off of my normal routine slightly, but at the end of the day, that's just life. Sometimes you need to pivot, sometimes you need to move things around, and that's okay. So to give myself permission to let life happen and to work around life and not to try to live life around work. I think also you get out of things what you put into them. When you dread something, it really shows in the work. And when you love something, it shows in the work. I think this is reflected in why I chose to close my Patreon membership, because I just wasn't really looking forward to the work and I felt like it was kind of starting to show. So I just wanted to nip that in the bud right away, especially because I had people paying to be in the Patreon and I didn't want to produce subpar content just for the sake of getting more money each month. So I feel really good about that. Also, that going viral is not the be-all, end-all that it's made out to be. If you watched my video where I talked about the Instagram Reels that went viral and brought me about 3,000 new followers on the platform, I explain more about that there. Unexpected wins. Again, speaking in front of some of the biggest names in tech, I think that's incredible for my branding and my reputation. The podcast coming together relatively seamlessly, as well as getting to attend some exciting events. Unexpected challenges. Brand deals is probably one of the biggest ones because that is typically one of my largest income streams, and it's been kind of quiet on the brand deal front for the first half of the year. Maybe I can even do another video talking about like what's going on or what I think is going on with that right now. But that's why I have other income streams that I'm able to focus on and pivot towards so that I'm not stressed out about the fact that brand deals have been a little quiet. I think spreading myself thin, trying to keep up with all platforms, especially now that I have all of these new accounts just for the podcast and I'm the only one who's posting on them all right now. Again, I think this is a big sign that I could hire someone out to assist me on that. And then obviously I wrote personal loss here. If you're new, my husband Andrew, his dad passed away in March and it has really not been easy. It's just been, well, if you've ever lost someone, I'm sure you know how it's been, but it just, you know, kind of has this aura of sadness that's really hard to get through sometimes just with the day-to-day life when you think about how unfair things can be and how mad you are. So that's just something that I know we've both been working through. I'm also kind of a very empathetic person where like if I know he's sad, it makes me sad, and you know, so it's just been kind of tough, and we really miss Andrew's dad like every single day. So that's just something that we're currently working through. I think it's also good to check in and see if your word of the year still feels relevant to you. My word of the year has been align, and the more, like I said earlier, where was it? Oh yeah, you get out of things what you put into them when you dread doing something. So like I'm trying to step away from the things that I do dread doing so I can focus more on the things that I really enjoy doing. So I think that's certainly still relevant and something that I'm really glad I chose that word for the year because it's been a very good guiding factor for me. So what does my business look like for the second half of the year? And again, if you want to fill out your own one of these, I would love to hear from you in the comments, like what you have going on in the next 6 months. I kind of break out my income streams into the ones that I want to prioritize and really kind of double down on, the ones that I think are going okay right now or that I don't really need to change what I'm doing on for the moment. And also the ones that I feel like I don't need to stress about. Either they are kind of seasonal or one-off or they happen when they happen. And these might change, but I like that it just gives me an idea of kind of the big 6 things that I would like to get done in the next 6 months, so that I'm not scrambling in August being like, wait, what should I be focused on right now? Like, I know what I need to do because I took the time here to reflect on it, to save myself the time later and to not get distracted by things that don't actually matter. So obviously I want to launch the new digital products, the Notion template, and then also the rate sheet and media kit would be great to launch. Also the Etsy shop with the wedding templates that I mentioned. Of course, finding ways to stay consistent with my long form content. And if anything, also increase publishing to grow potential ad revenue. And I think this could manifest itself in a few different ways. Maybe that means I'll be able to put out like 2 blog posts a week and more YouTube shorts or whatever that means. But my first priority is really staying consistent. And if I'm able to do that and I can increase the amount I'm publishing, then I think that's even better. For Q4, I feel like holiday brand partnerships usually do pop up, so that will be my focus, and it would also be great to network as much as I can, reach back out to previous brand partners in Q3 to make sure I'm keeping those relationships up to date. It would be great to move the blog to WordPress and do the redesign. And then I also need to figure out and make some decisions with what to do with my digital course. I have done 2 live launches so far, and those have both gone pretty well, but I am considering making the course evergreen, meaning you could buy it at any time. I just need to work out what the process is for setting that all up. And I am also considering moving the course to Squarespace because Squarespace does have its own course portal now. Currently, I use Thinkific, which is basically like just another course hosting software. But if I can do it all on Squarespace within austentosone.com, which is my portfolio website, which I am planning to keep on Squarespace, versus my blog, which I'm thinking of moving off of Squarespace to WordPress. So I just want to have a better understanding about what Squarespace courses can look like, how much I might be saving if I switch to Squarespace since I'm already paying for that website versus paying a separate price for Thinkific each month. And of course, how I would move my existing students' login information over to Squarespace. So a couple of specific upcoming tasks that I know I can get done are to watch my friend Alyssa's YouTube videos about Etsy to kind of get that set up, like I said. Establish a batch recording schedule for YouTube and the podcast that's realistic. I feel like summer is going to be filled with a lot of fun travel plans, which I'm obviously grateful for, but I want to make sure I'm staying consistent with my long form content because, as I mentioned, that's a big priority for me. Again, hopefully maybe reposting or repurposing some YouTube videos and creating shorts from them to drive more traffic to my long form content. My 3 platforms that I'm most focused on for the next 6 months are definitely YouTube, my blog, and my email list. I think it would be great to grow an engaged podcast listenership and also partner with a few brands that I love. I have so many that I feel like I could work with, so maybe just thinking about some ways to bring those ideas to fruition. Oh my God, I just got some really exciting news that I can actually go in and add to my accomplishments from the first half of the year, which is that finally after, I guess I applied over a year ago for both of these, but I officially am a trademark owner for not just one thing, but actually 2 things that I have built that I'm so proud of. Trademarks! I got my trademark for the Influencer Income Accelerator a few months ago, but my blog one was just taking such a long time to come through, but it actually just arrived today. Keep Calm and Chiffon is trademarked. It is mine. I am so just like, this means so much to me, and I'm so happy that I actually have both of these trademarks secured now. Plus my blog is also turning 12 this month. Just feels like the right timing for this all to come to fruition. I feel great now that I outlined all of my priorities for the rest of the year and also got to acknowledge the progress I made in the first half of the year in the mid-year reset. One last part of this is this other helpful tasks to consider. I'll put a screenshot on the screen so you can see exactly what I wrote here. This is just a list of stuff I wrote down for myself that I think is helpful for the midway part of the year. So of course, touching base with some previous brand contacts, especially getting ready in the lead up to Q4, I think is really important. I also put poll your audience to see what content they want to see in the coming weeks, so I can definitely post that on my YouTube community tab to see what you all want. So feel free to go check that out or leave a comment down below to let me know what you'd like to see from me for the rest of the year. Update my income expenses. I actually do a pretty good job of keeping that up to date. Update my bio copy and about page copy. This is something I think is helpful to do every 6 months. If you have a little bio that you send, if you are ever a guest on a podcast and they want that like 1-paragraph description, updating your media kit, updating the about page of your website. These are all really helpful things to do partway through the year. I also wrote format memory cards, delete iMovie library, because for some reason iMovie makes like a copy of everything. So as long as I have backups on my hard drive and on my Google Drive, I can delete my whole iMovie library and clear up a lot of space on my laptop. Also run clean my Mac, declutter email inbox, and respond to any outstanding DMs. All right, let's see how many of these I can get ticked off of my list, but first I'm gonna motivate myself by making a matcha. So I just updated the about copy for my website, which apparently has not been updated since August 2022. So I'm gonna put last updated June 2024 here so I know. And then I'm going to head to my backend on Squarespace and put it into this spot right here on my homepage. I just ran clean my Mac and was able to clear out like 13 gigabytes of storage, but this is what I was talking about. So if you search for your iMovie library in your Finder, it currently says my iMovie library is taking up 250 gigabytes on my computer. So I've made sure I backed up all of my videos. Most of this also was videos from my course and any vlogs that I create since Sean edits everything else. So I'm literally going to right-click on iMovie library and say move to trash, and then I'm going to empty the trash and delete it, and that should give me back about 250 gigabytes of storage on my laptop. So far with the other tasks I wanted to accomplish, here's what I've gotten done. I posted on YouTube to ask what content people wanted to see in the coming weeks. My income expenses is up to date. I updated my bio and about copy. I deleted my iMovie library and backed up my videos. I ran clean my Mac. My inbox is decluttered. I don't have any outstanding DMs. I put reminders to pay quarterly taxes through September of 2025. So it's just a little Google Calendar reminder with the links for where to submit my payments electronically about 2 or 3 days before they're actually due. Some things that I have left are to format my memory cards, which I will do after I back up the footage from this video. Touching base with brand contacts is a bit more of a process I want to be thoughtful about, so I'm gonna save that for another day. And I still need to kind of tidy up my physical area and make note of any upcoming holidays / content opportunities. So all things that I know I can get done, but it feels so good to just have a plan on paper and know exactly what I need to do next to make sure I'm meeting my goals. I'm gonna work for a little while longer and then I will take a lunch break, and I actually have some events in the city this afternoon too, so that should be fun. All right, I just sent off my little campaign wrap-up report to a beauty brand that I partnered with on Instagram last week. So just sent them my metrics and some of my favorite comments and other ways that I think the reel might still be able to reach more people even though the campaign is wrapped. But now it's time to eat some food. So let's go see what's in the freezer from Trader Joe's. Where else? I'm gonna do the flatbread just because I'm feeling lazy. Can we talk about my new pot holder and oven mitt? Like, I'm obsessed. Okay, I wrote my newsletter and I curled my hair. Why were none of you gonna tell me that I just did eyeshadow and I did not do eyeliner or mascara? Like, we cannot go out like this. So I'm just going to finish putting that on and then we are heading out to the city. Okay, I'm pretty much ready to go. I'm wearing this dress I got from Francesca's a few years ago. My necklace is Lulu's. I have my gimme hair tie and my hair kind of slicked back. I hope the curls hold up, but we're actually kind of having a heat wave in New York City area this week, so it's gonna be sweaty. I am also just wearing my high top Converse and I'm bringing my white Brahmin purse that you know I bring everywhere. So first we have an event with the Enki list at the Matchaful in Soho. Then I have a little bit of time. I'm going to probably walk to Union Square and grab kava. And then tonight I'm attending a book event for a friend of mine who I know just from the writing and editing world. Her name is Olivia. She is the co-host of the Bad on Paper podcast and her debut novel, Such a Bad Influence, is out this month. So I'm actually going to an event at the Union Square Barnes & Noble. She and her podcast co-host Becca Freeman are going to be doing a live discussion about the book. So I'm super excited for tonight and I'm excited that my ticket also includes the copy of her book. So I'll get her to sign it and everything and I'm just excited to go out and support her.